Personal story segment tonight. The former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, won the Iowa caucus back in 2008. This year, things have been more difficult for the governor. He joins us now from Iowa. So you've given it a good shot, but the Trump-Cruz brawl seems to be overriding everything right now. How do you see that?
Well, I tell you, I'm still finding it out here with Iowa people that the connection is real. And I just think people have forgotten the lesson of Iowa. Every 4 years, the media gets it wrong. They got it wrong 4 years ago, 8 years ago. Bill, they've gotten it wrong for 40 years. Jimmy Carter was never supposed to win it even back in the 70s. The Iowa people will make up their own mind, and most of them don't make it up until just before the caucus. And I think we're going to see that happening again February 1st.
Okay, and I hope they do. I'd like to see some surprises. But, you know, Santorum won last time. You won in 2008. It doesn't seem to mean that much in the general vote, although certainly we applaud Iowans for having a caucus. We think everybody should be heard. But Trump and Cruz,
let me just point out something, Bill.
Go ahead.
Bill, hold on one second. I just want to point out, it wasn't just that either of us won Iowa. We went on to come in second in the nominating process. So I think when people say, oh, well, all you did was win Iowa. No, I came in second to McCain, and Santorum came in second to Romney 4 years ago. So it is a good launching pad. It is a good predictor of how well we can do.
Good valid point. But it's different this time because of Trump. And now Trump's in a brawl with Cruz. And they're both trying to woo evangelical voters, and they're your base. So how do you see this?
Have you ever been to a NASCAR race, and if the two front cars have a collision and both of them wreck, guess what happens? Somebody comes from behind them and ends up winning the race and get the checkered flag. There's less than 2 weeks, but that's a long period of time in an Iowa election. And it could be that all the cars in front end up crashing into each other, rolling off the track, and people in Iowa say, you know, forget it. These guys are so consumed with each other. Is there a candidate who's really talking about us? And that's when they're going to say, Mike Huckabee has never stopped talking about the working class people who are getting gut punched, whose wages aren't going up, the people who work hard in places like where I am here in this factory in Sioux Center, Iowa, people who stand on their feet all day. And they say there's at least one guy who's not corporately funded. He's not a big Wall Street cash guy. And I think that that's where the shot is, and that's why I think there's going to be a surprise February 1st.
All right, if they do blow up, those two candidates, certainly you're well positioned. But you've been more critical of Cruz than Trump, correct?
I don't know that I've been critical. I've been asked a lot of questions, and I've pointed out that for someone, if they're going to say they're consistent, they need to be consistent. And one of the things that I feel like I've brought to this race is that nobody is catching me saying something different in New York than I say in Sioux Center. If I tell somebody something in Marshalltown, Iowa, they're going to hear the exact same things in Manhattan. And, Bill, that's one of the things you know from the long time I've known you. I don't go and change even my message when I sit down and talk on your show or behind the scenes. I just don't. And that's one of the things I think people love about you. You do the same.
You're a straight-talking guy. But, look, you said about Cruz that how can you be a rabid Christian if you don't give any money to charity? I mean, that's a pretty tough statement.
I didn't say it about Cruz. I was asked a question generally, and I said, I don't think you can put God last in your budget if you claim that he's first in your life. I was talking about me. Look, the fact is Christian stewardship is something I believe in. I believed in it when my wife and I were dirt poor and living in a $40 a month rent house. I believed it when we've had a lot more money, but we've always given never less than a tithe of our income to our church
didn't you not
for the simple reason that that's how it's supposed to be.
Did you not say that evangelicals want to know why Cruz gave less than 1% of his income to charity between 2006 and 2010? Did you point that out?
I don't know that I said that. I don't think so. But look, I believe that everything in our lives is open for inspection. I'm not criticizing some other candidate. He'll have to answer for that.
Do you think Cruz is a Christian to be emulated? I mean, it seems like you're casting aspersions on him.
I'm not going to judge his Christian faith because, look, God's going to judge mine. He's going to judge his.
Is he being a phony in this area, or is he being upfront?
I think it's something he needs to answer. What are his parameters of stewardship? Bill, look at it. You're one of the most generous people I know. I think of all the contributions you've given to Fisher House, to Wounded Warriors. You give very generously and vigorously. And why do you do that? Because you believe you have a responsibility back to other people. You don't have to. Government doesn't force you to do that. You do that because you like to do it. That's why I do it. I think that's why every Christian does it. And anybody, I don't care whether it's me or you or Ted Cruz or Donald Trump, every one of us, I think somebody could ask us, what are your priorities? And I'll be able to find it out as much by your budget as
so
I
you
will
weren't just
by
picking
whatever
on
you
Cruz,
say.
you were just throwing that out for all the candidates.
For all of us, I evaluate myself every day and ask myself, what are the priorities in my life?
Trump is, as you may have heard, I don't know whether you heard the Talking Points memo, but he's under attack by the far left. They're coming after him like crazy, want to shut him down because he's dominating the coverage. His domination of the coverage has hurt guys like you. There's no doubt, because, you know, he's driving the media on television in particular. Is that anger you, Governor?
Well, not at Donald Trump. I admire the guy for being such a master of manipulating the media and having them literally eaten out of his hand the whole process. Good for him. I mean, any of us who could do that, heck, we'd be doing it. It's made it difficult sometimes to get the more substantive message out.
Yeah,
but we
I don't think you do
I
what
don't
Trump
blame
does.
Donald Trump for that.
I don't think you do it. You know, he's a bomb thrower. He throws bombs. That's not your style. You're not going to do that.
No, that's not my style.
Right. But his style, as you just pointed out, is working. It's sucking the air out of the room, and the other candidates are losing face time. Hey, Governor, we wish you the best, and we appreciate you coming on tonight.